Well, even though it happened on Sunday, the baseball world still rocking from Juan Soto's mega deal with the Mets. The $765 million man has been the biggest splash by far in these winter meetings, but there's still plenty to go in Scott Boras' clientele. Soto and Snell off the board, but still several big names waiting for the big bucks. Taking a look right here. Corbin Burns, one of those names. Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Sean Manaea, just some of the notable names that could be landing in some new spots. We now welcome in CBS Sports MLB analyst and former exec of the year, Jim Bowden, joining us from Dallas, Texas, the epicenter of this year's winter meetings. And Jim, we had the privilege to chat with you on Sunday evening just as that news dropped about Juan Soto's record-shattering deal to join the New York Mets. I'd assume that buzz has yet to calm down around there. What's the scene like out there in Dallas, especially for the Metropolitans?
Yeah, I mean, look, one thing is really clear. The New York Mets are not done after Juan Soto. I spent about a half an hour with Mets manager Carlos Mendoza today, and it's very clear that the owner, Steve Cohen, the president, David Stearns, as well, of course, Carlos, they're committed on building a world championship club, and they want to do it right here, right now. Now, I got the strong impression that they're going to do everything they can to bring Pete Alonso back to play first base. They love the polar bear, and one of the things that Mendoza said he loves about him so much is the fact that this is a guy that posts. He gets the flu, he gets nagging injuries, doesn't matter. He's still out there every single game. And you could tell how much he appreciates it. The other point that he's made is it's very important to have protection for Juan Soto in the lineup. You didn't sign Juan Soto to not have protection right behind him in the lineup. Pete Alonso would give that. So when Soto gets his walks, guess what? There's Alonso to his 30 to 40 home runs. So they're going to do everything to bring him back. Now, I did kind of press Mendoza a little bit on the defense of Mark Vientos at third base because I had heard a lot of rumors that if they don't sign Alonso, they could move Vientos to first and maybe sign another Boras free agent, and that is Alex Bregman. But he spent a long time telling me how much he thought Vientos had improved at third base and felt like he could and should stay at third base. So clearly to me, Alonso is their first choice in terms of that, but they know they've got to fill either the first base or third base side. Now, besides that, it's very clear they're going to sign at least two starting pitchers. Now, I can't tell you if they're going to play in the Burns-Fried realm yet. I do think they want to bring Sean Manaea back, and I do think they're going to do everything they can to get Roki Sasaki when he is going to sign, which will be between January 15th and January 23rd. So the Mets already have signed Soto, but Kiana, they're just getting started. Steve Cohen promised Juan Soto he's going to do everything he can to win world championships in New York, and this is going to be a fun winter if you're a Mets fan. There's no question about that.
Cohen and the Mets, what I'm picking up, far from done where we stand right now. But meanwhile, Jim, as for Soto's former team, Yankees general manager Brian Cashman spoke at the winter meetings about Soto landing outside of Queens, and he said, quote, "It's not a deal we regret. He impacted us in a heavy way. I'm just sorry we fell short in the World Series. I would say Hal went above and beyond to try and find a way to keep Juan Soto in pinstripes," end quote. Now, according to reports, the Mets and the Yanks were those last two standing in the courting of Soto, but now Cashman obviously wanting to stay aggressive in free agency while not acting like a drunken sailor. But what's next for the pinstripes?
Yeah, so there have been, they met with Corbin Burns this past week in a Zoom meeting. They would like to get either Burns or Max Fried to add to the rotation. They have targeted Christian Walker as a possible solution for second base, and they have considered both Anthony Santander and Teoscar Hernandez as possible outfield upgrades to try to get some power back after losing the 41 homers, but, obviously when they lost Juan Soto. They also have to figure out second base or third base. Gleyber Torres is a free agent. Now, they could move Jazz Chisholm to either second base or center field, which could help open up a spot. Again, they've also been connected with Alex Bregman. Going to be very interesting to see what the Yankees do and how they pivot here, but I do expect them to make some noise before they leave the winter meetings here in Dallas.
All right, well, I want to stick with the AL East because Red Sox skipper Alex Cora had some interesting comments about Alex Bregman as they continue to pursue the infielder. And it seems like they're prioritizing him after missing out on that Juan Soto sweepstakes. But what are you hearing about this potential reunion? Because Cora did serve as the Astros bench coach back in 2017.
Yeah, he did. And he's good friends with Alex Bregman. So I had Alex Cora on my radio show, my SiriusXM radio show this afternoon. And the thing that he really pointed out was how they really need a right-handed pull hitter, someone that can pull the ball into that monster left field. That's something they lack. They've got a lot of left-hand hitters, which play well at Fenway, but you have to better balance. And so that really opens up Alex Bregman here because Bregman's a dead pull hitter. He's going to play the best when he has a short left field, like in Houston. Fenway Park fits that. He's got the relationship with Alex as well. But to do that, before they actually signed Bregman, Alex Cora said he personally would have to call Rafael Devers, which they have not done, and would talk to him about moving to first base because that's something that would have to be done before they were able to sign Bregman, if they do sign Bregman. Now, very interestingly, both Sam Kennedy and Theo Epstein arrived at the winter meetings today. Craig Breslow, it's only his second year as a GM. I know the Red Sox ownership wants decisions. They want to spend money. They haven't done anything in 4 years. And they are ready to spend money. They sent an empty checkbook with their executives, so they're ready to go. I think their focus, though, is more on the starting pitching market. And I'm talking about Corbin Burnes and Max Fried, or trading for Garrett Crochet of the Chicago White Sox. The other interesting thing that Alex Cora said today is how he'd like a closer. Not that Liam Hendricks and Aroldis Chapman couldn't have that role. Sounds to me like the guy they really want is Tanner Scott, who's a free agent, or make a trade for Devin Williams. So whether it's a Bregman, Burnes, Fried, or Scott, or Devin Williams, or Crochet, Boston is going to be active. They have a goal of winning at least 92 games this year, and they have a goal of finally spending money, which we haven't seen in a while. So they're going to be another fascinating team to watch.
The checkbooks are open because these teams are ready to compete. But you brought this up just moments ago. Japanese right-hander Roki Sasaki was posted to Major League Baseball teams and will be available to sign as a free agent. You spoke about that window that ends on January 23rd. A lot of teams in pursuit of Sasaki. Where do you see the best fit for him?
Yeah, so he's represented by the Wasserman Group. And the one thing that I've learned through all of my sources is there's three things that Sasaki's going to focus on in making the decision on his next team. The first one is endorsements. Where can he get the best endorsements? That's going to play a factor because he won't be arbitration eligible for 3 years. He won't be eligible for free agency for 6 years. So that's going to play a factor. Number two, he wants to win. You know, he gets to pick. So he's not going to go to a team that's not competitive. It's got to be a team where he thinks he's got a chance, you know, to go to the postseason every year. So that's going to play a factor. And the other factor is pitching development. What team has the right pitching coach for him? What team has the right development? There's two teams that I think are in the lead right now. The San Diego Padres, where his godfather, Yu Darvish, is a member of the team. And the other place is the New York Mets. I know that the Wasserman Group that's representing him are very high on Jeremy Hefner, and that does have some influence here. Now, look, are there other big markets that are going to be in this thing, like the Yankees, Red Sox, Cubs, Philly? Sure, they're going to be in it. But if you're asking me right now what my sense is, who the early favorites would be, clearly Padres or Mets for me.
Endorsements, ability to win. There's a couple of clubs that come to mind when I think about that, but also taking it a step further, having that development when it comes to the pitching. But all right, Jim, I think Monday was a bit of maybe of a slow news day, especially considering what we saw on Sunday with that Soto news. But who are you hearing that could potentially be that next big splash?
Yeah, look, I think this was the lull before the storm. I really do. And I think we're going to have some action. I won't be surprised tomorrow if one of the ace pitchers comes off the board. I think Corbin Burnes has a chance to be the next guy off the board, possibly as early as tomorrow. And I think in terms of a team, what team's going to make the biggest splash? I think Boston's ready to make the splash. I don't think Sam Kennedy and Theo Epstein get on a plane and arrive down here if they're not going to help Craig Breslow get over the finish line here. So that's two things to look at. But I do think we're going to start to have more activity tomorrow. And then I think Wednesday's when we're going to get the real flurry of action here in Dallas at the hotel. Too many trade conversations are going on. Too many free agent discussions. I think the action starts starts tomorrow.
Buckle up, because it's going to be a fun week out in Dallas and in general across the majors. As always, Jim Bowden, we appreciate the insight, and make sure you try to get some sleep while you can out there, okay?
I will try, Kiana. Thank you.
Probably won't be easy for Jim Bowden, but take a look at the top 10 free agents remaining. We just heard Jim talk about Corbin Burnes. He said some action could get going as early as Wednesday. Taking a look at that name, one that could be off the board here shortly. Alex Bregman, Max Fried, Roki Sasaki. We talked about him in that window that's opening up. Jack Flaherty, one of those names that could be moving here in the near future.